wear my hair down.
If you like. Hello, this is Jessica. I'm coming to you live from my crystal shop here in Ashland City, heart of the Hollow. And I'm here to have a conversation today with Miss Rhinestone Heiress, Morelia Cuevas.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for coming here today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
The purpose of this is to be chill, relaxed conversation kind of thing. She's agreed to participate in my little games today on camera. No, the deal is it's Good Friday.
And like a good Jew, I have my pie on and my Catholic Virgin Guadalupe for being the kosher taco that I am. I'm representing both religions and cultures.
I love that.
Don't judge.
That's why. You know what? And that actually makes up your personality and your reputation of wild card, because you can. You're the dichotomy is just like, I understand this culture and this, and I embrace them both, and I bring it together, and just always your authentic self.
Well, you have to be. There's a sense of respect. Doesn't mean I have to believe what you believe, or you believe what I believe, but I have to respect the fact of what you believe. And, you and I could fight forever and say, oh, that's blue, and it's actually yellow. You know what I mean? And, but I'd like to hear why you think it's blue. Even though we know it's yellow, or, it's something as silly as that. But I just feel that that's important,
And that actually,
that's the only way you can keep friends with all the craziness that goes on in this world. If you can't have respect for each other, what's the purpose?
That is so true. And not only that, it's like, and I feel like we have good chemistry together too, because we're both open to finding out what other people think. And that's really important to, like, for me, I think that's intellectually stimulating, and actually that's a core thing of what I teach with the philosophy and stuff. Like that, it's just like, I don't want to get...
That's fine.
But no,
I remember philosophy 101 in college.
Yeah, I do too. I kind of fucked off, but it worked out good for me in the end. I figured it out. But no, I have to have the people closest to me intellectually stimulating conversations too, where we're asking those big questions, but also respecting each other and understanding that, like, I might not have all the answers, and I might get closer to the truth of what is life and God and all this other stuff by exploring.
Yeah, I don't think everyone has the answers anyhow, but it's, it's a trial and error. You got to learn day by day for things, how they happen, or why the reasons they happen, and why people come in and out of our lives and stuff. When we were talking earlier, we were getting really deep earlier outside in the sun, so she wanted to bring it in the inside. Now, we were getting kind of deep in it. We're getting into religion and politics, and I'm very respectful to it. In many ways. Depending on, being that I'm multicultural. For being an American, I'm probably the most European blood individual, and for me to speak, I come with Jewish blood from my mother's side of the family. And I also have Latino blood, which is mostly European blood, being French and Spaniard, and being a Kiev Russian Jew. So, I have the joke I always say is I'm a kosher taco to everyone, that I kind of came up with when I was a kid, which is also the name of my production company. But testimony to my humor. But, so I've had, obviously there's a lot of similarities on both sides, culturally, religiously, and also some extreme opposites. But it's grown for me to learn, and maybe some people may not understand this. I also come from a very interesting livelihood and upbringing, so also I have that on top of it. So I might have been.
You've become very wise.
I've been very worldly, and culturally I've seen maybe more things than most, but it doesn't mean like, oh, I know more than you, or vice versa. It's just a matter of
You just went through different experiences.
yeah. It's different. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to have an opinion. Many people have opinions, but but there's a difference. I mean, but there's still a value of respect. I'm so particular about that, and I like when we talked earlier um, about believing. Like I actually had a conversation before I was in here today. I was on the phone for over 2 hours. Uh, was the friend that I know, but I got to really know over the last 2 hours, which was kind of fun. I always love those kind of conversations. Those are fun to have. It's a good learning experience. That's how it is usually when you pick up a phone and you want
and
to
that
kind
happens sometimes.
some good readings of each other, really.
Yeah.
And I got to
explore like who she was more finally,
and then she got to explore. She said she called me because I knew your intuition would be correct and honest, and that was like really flattering to be told that, because I'm far from ever being a liar. And and I couldn't lie anyhow. My truths almost sound like lies sometimes, but I just had a very outrageous life, so I can't kind of help what happens,
Yes, you're I can, not to interrupt your story, but your wisdom you shared with me on people and interpersonal relationships in general has been invaluable. So I understand why she called you. So
it's flattering to think that someone wants your advice on something or another, or what you picked up on someone and the conversation, if they're for real or whatever the case is, But we were talking. Okay, now we're talking about outside. Now I can't remember. I might go off a tangent every now and then. So don't mind.
That's what it's about. That's what it's conversation.
I mean, I was very fortunate in the sense of, even going to school. I'm talking like grade school, high school, that kind of stuff. Good educators. I didn't feel like I was deprived, like I couldn't learn this or be told that. I mean, I'm an '80s kid, so the '80s were my time. But I was born in the late '60s, so I didn't feel like I was privileged to be told about this culture, that culture, this race, this whatever. I got exposed to a lot of authors in English class, and then I had incredible teachers that, brought examples. I remember one of my English professors in high school. Her husband was a rabbi. I mean, I probably was the one in the classroom probably related the most because I have a grandfather that's Jewish. But doesn't mean that I was raised and practiced it or anything like that.
You're just familiar with.
I was familiar with things. I mean, obviously, I know matzah cracker. Hello.
Yeah.
I was brought up on good delicatessen, so bagel, tortilla. I like a bagel. I'm guilty. Sorry, but I eat both, and not gluten free. But I'm just on a serious note. Being exposed to those things, and then I hear today these people complaining like, "Oh, we don't get these kind of authors or this or that." I kind of feel bad, and it makes me wonder how much has time really changed of who's pulling what out. I don't know. That almost, and then I can understand certain people have upbringings. They don't want their kid to learn something too quick or something like that, but you can't hold on to that forever. They're going to go to someone's house or hear maybe not the right way.
If you're talking about the recent book stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get back to what we were talking about outside about the journalism stuff, but I could show you some things on that deeper with what they were showing kids. Like, it's pretty pornographic and detailed of how to do stuff.
Oh, wow.
I could show you some of the stuff, and it is disturbing and things that they
Well, you would know, you're a parent and you have a young child in school, so it's a little bit different. I don't have any children. So, but I mean, I have nieces and nephews that go to school still, but, it's intriguing to me on what they learn and like, I mean,
I think you would understand why people are so passionate about it. if you saw some of those materials.
Well, that made more sense to me. I don't know. But,
Yes.
But I wasn't not exposed by reading an African American author or a Jewish author or Buddhism or whatever. All those things were,
and those are important to.
It was helpful
to exercise your mind intellectually and stuff. And yes.
And I was fortunate to have that. I even did in junior high. I mean, of course, my junior high years were fantastic because I went to a television, theater, fine arts school that I had to audition for. So that's a little different. But I was still intermixed with everybody else in the regular school program, that our school was welcoming. And I didn't live in the high and mighty, Beverly Hills, but I'm familiar with Beverly Hills. But, to make people think, you're privileged to go here. But it wasn't like that, it wasn't like, but I had just great educators. Mm-hmm. And I got exposed to things that I feel like in my younger years of study were actually almost better education than I had starting to go to college. Mm-hmm. That says a lot. I mean, then you can see where the times were changing. Like when I went to school, you still did the Pledge of Allegiance. I think it was once and I graduated high school in 1986, by the way. And I think we've finally narrowed it down towards the end of that year. We're only doing it 3 days a week. So that just tells you when I think the process of things were starting to change, or or things with sexuality or anything like that. When we went to prom, you had to bring a guy if you're a girl or whatever, but it wasn't too strict. I mean,
was that Carter or Reagan, 86?
Wasn't it Reagan still, or I can't remember.
I can't remember.
I couldn't. No,
just yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. He had to be Reagan because wasn't it? Because I wasn't at age to vote for him yet until after that was next.
I do want to circle back around to some of the things you were talking about and into your more personal views of that, but I didn't want to.
No, they're fine. But I know we were talking about that stuff, and it's always intrigues me to I'm not afraid to.
Yeah,
I mean, I have nothing to hide, really.
Yes, and I do. Way circling back, how you were talking about your, I don't want to use the word tolerance per se, but like willing to explore and understand really came from that respect. How you said respecting under other cultures came from that union of your parents that actually taught you that.
Yes, I had it in my household,
and it's like that's why you're authentically a non-judgmental person in a lot of ways.
I know that everyone doesn't get to have that in their household. And I do believe it begins in the household, no matter what the situation is. And some households may not have that opportunity, but it wasn't also picture perfect. I had a lot of things go on in my, like get divorced and other things, and everybody has family traumas and dramas and everything. We all have that. I don't need to get into all that, but when. I don't know. I just feel I would rather be well taught properly in a place where we're supposed to feel safe. And I know times have changed and schools or maybe aren't as safe.
They weren't talking about like genital mutilation in the books when you were in 1986. And that's the kind of stuff that they were introducing into the school system of like. And just like
Brave New World, 1984.
No, not like that. More like cartoon depictions and things of like how to hook up with older people online. Seriously, I'm not exaggerating this, but it's
Well, it's just so weird how we think our world has advanced. So I still feel it goes backwards, even though it's saying it's advanced. With all
not saying it couldn't happen. Believe me, I'm not like trusting the government's gonna. Yeah, no. Gonna like.
It used to just be you had to read Moby Dick, when you're in. At school. Do they still read that book? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it still on the curriculum? I think everybody had to read that one at some point.
I don't know. I went to school in the South, and no, it's no secret. Like Tennessee's like always the bottom of school ratings for the country.
It's horrible.
It is.
And especially with there's a lot of history in the South.
Yeah.
Good and bad, but
I'm glad.
But it makes where we are today and where people have been able to progress or maybe not so in some areas for some people, but I don't know. But I mean, I feel like we're supposed to progress forward, aren't we? I mean,
Yes.
way before my times. I mean, obviously. I mean, that's why I have, family that came from where they came from. I really feel like it's the ideal American dream besides winning the lotto. I always say is, I have family from two different countries
Mm-hmm.
that came into this world legally and also worked hard and became famous.
Yes.
That's huge.
That is huge.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's important. I think it's important to learn that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing wrong to go through the due process of
Mhm.
things. I mean, everybody wants to come to America, and I respect that, and I know why they do. And sometimes there's days I don't want to be here. I mean, I still have a dream and then I've been traveled, and I always say I'm going to live outside in a villa somewhere, maybe south of France or something like that, down the road, or at least 6 months out of the year. But I still love America because I still have to go to America for certain things that I just love and I'm grateful for, and glad to be an American for that.
I am
matter.
grateful for capitalism as well.
It's
It's a beautiful thing. It's out of poverty.
Hey, there are
and-
differences in different countries when you go.
Well, no, I'm not been as well traveled as you,
Uh-huh.
or outside the country at all.
Uh-huh.
But when I do study a lot of that stuff, and from my understanding, the way that America's set up for upward mobility and doesn't adhere to like a strict caste system, whereas like your father could work hard, study, find the right formula, I guess, to get his name well known and, really be, that American dream going here. Should we just totally pivot to conservatism in politics or what?
What the hell? At this point, I mean,
actually, I was thinking, and
this is where I need to have my hat that I haven't ordered yet.
yes,
make America sparkle again.
I've been tame so far, but one of my favorite things to be is controversial, and that's okay. And but
what are you gonna do that's controversial? Come on.
Well, maybe I am a provocateur in some ways, but I've just embraced the fact that people who are it's like they either disagree with my politics or religion a majority of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that in itself has been controversial, me being my authentic self. And I accidentally came back around to the title of this again, which is authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to, and even now, I'll just be real honest with the camera. It's like I almost shudder to think of like, how is this perceived by people that may agree with me because I am a conservative and, have all my reasons and understandings that I am that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also, I love this. Somebody told me this recently, a dirt worshiping heathen, as in I'm pagan. I practice different philosophies that actually are more removed from religion, and look on the outside looking in, and also like a recognition for, I guess you would call nature worship or different kind of stuff. People like to label it whatever they like to label it, but in the end of the day, it's a recognition.
Well, if it works for you, it makes you feel.
I'm exploring God in my own way, but I also have very conservative values for reasons. Or not like I said, I'm not like, even I piss off conservatives, with a lot of stuff. And that's.
I mean, religion and stuff could be always a tricky thing for people sometimes, but like when I think of religion in some ways, when they say God or person or spirit or feeling or whatever it is, different people, what it might be, is a greater power. And I do believe there is such a thing as that, of a greater power that we want to believe in or worship or make you feel better or whatever that is, or whatever it signifies, this or that. I mean, having two strong, prominent religions in my household, it made me more of a spiritual person, and just kind of open, and kind of, I'm not too formulated because I don't always agree with
And like
everything.
your mother's
Well, 'cause
helping you
yeah,
exposure with
I mean, just not to
questioning.
necessarily agree with everything. I too am a conservative, and to an extent, I do register as a Republican. I have never denied being Republican. Don't shoot me, and
And that's
but
brave in the
but
world.
at the same time, if you know me, oh, she's liberal. Yeah, but there's a liberal side of me. I'm very liberal.
So you piss people off too.
Oh, so
I get it.
I mean, my lifestyle, that's sometimes how I carry on. I might be a little bit more outgoing than most, boisterous. Yeah. So with that in mind, it could be misconstrued. You know what I mean? So that's why they don't know. But in my initial household, and if I had my own union as being like my own husband and child or anything like that, I don't have that. But if I do, and when I do, I like to bring some morals and happiness and different things, to whatever works for me and my household, and hopefully to embellish, to strengthen whatever for them to out in the real world. It's like great ideas. Like we had a conversation earlier. I am where it was kind of funny. I was talking to my sister on the phone, and I brought up a funny thing about Easter. Um, I always tell whoever hears my story, it's fun. I have a story of the golden egg, and I'll explain that in a minute. My grandmother, who had a beautiful, beautiful backyard, a ranch house in California, and with all her beautiful patio furniture and her perfect grass and everything. So proper. I love it. She would hide the eggs. We had the real eggs that you dyed and colored, and the plastic eggs. But she had those. You remember the legs pantyhose, the big ones? Like the golden, there was a golden one and a silver one. The one had $100 bill in it, and one had a $50 bill. Now, my older sister is 7 years older than me, so this didn't last very long, but it ended up just being me, so I kind of begged, I'm not going to lie. But but it got to the point where, I wanted to go for the money egg before I found the other eggs in the yard. And then, like, an egg would rot in the yard, she'd be pissed about it later. But, then I said it to be funny when I called my sister. I go, hey, what are you doing for Easter? You go hunt for some golden eggs, just to think like, a chuckle might bring a cute memory or something. And then I gave her a hard time because she's a grandmother now, and I said, yeah.
You got to do like the different traditions and stuff. Like
I think it's important. I love my golden egg story. I would love it, I know everyone didn't have $100 bills in their eggs, but even if it was pennies, who cares? Candy and jelly beans.
Yes.
Or the peeps. So, my peep story from earlier, I told you. I'll have to tell that story.
The life of an heiress.
Be careful what you say on social media. You might have someone bring you some peeps later. When you tell them peeps is your favorite Easter candy. Don't hate me. Don't love me. I don't know. I'm going to end up with a bunch of peeps. What was it? Was it Bush, or was the one who's sitting in like broccoli? Was that the one? Was it Bush Jr.? I think it was. Or was it? And then he got broccoli sent to him like crazy? Or was something crazy like that? But I happen to love peeps just as much as I love candy corn for Halloween. I have weird fascinations with candy that I like during the holidays. Yeah. Don't you have a favorite holiday candy? Come on, I'm trying to change the subject purposely. I don't know.
Did you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like candy corn for Halloween.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I meant like you said. Are you trying to change the subject?
I'm just being silly. Yeah, I'm just trying to liven up the place. Whoa. Just kidding.
What are you saying?
No, I'm
the dead hang out here or something in the crystal shop?
No, the crystal shop's very it's actually very calm. It feels good today. It's very quiet, comfortable.
Yes, it's just
it's a weird day actually, even though it's lovely outside. It really is.
I will say a lot of people,
they're probably on vacation. People are getting prepared.
A lot of people in the spiritual community right now are going through a lot of stuff that happens astrologically. Well, okay, I want to say this too. My beliefs don't just stem from like, oh, I read it somewhere, this sounds cool, or somebody. I experience shit, and I can't explain it. And as my search for answers, a lot of it's led me to the conclusions that I have about spirituality and stuff like that. Like, I'll have a bad day. My friends are having a bad day. Everything's like going awry. There's a bunch of chaos and stuff.
Yeah,
And
I get what you're
inevitably,
saying.
somebody will say, like, oh, did anyone check astrology? Oh, crap. There's all kinds of things going on that are signaling towards chaos.
And I guess I can relate to that because my full name on paper, okay, Morelia in Cuevas, I do get misinterpreted, it's almost like a reverse prejudice in a way, automatically assume I speak Spanish. And
Oh, yeah.
I understand it, at least I can read it, but it was never really spoken in my household. Having a Latin father, surprisingly, but I was raised a little bit differently. But this has something to do with the religion that you were saying. I I went through different phases being born and raised in California, Southern California, um, in my views of part of my culture. To be honest with you, I didn't even want to go through a phase and even practice, which would be mostly the Catholic religion, which is very common.
Mm-hmm.
There was a few things I disagreed with or had a situation in the Catholic Church that made me have a sense of disbelief, and then also not really being as Latin, let's just say. And then I went through a phase too. I went to a high populated Latino community school, and even though that really wasn't me, in the school, there was a phase when I decided, like, oh, I'm going to study in the church just to see,
Right.
maybe I'm missing something I didn't understand. I was fortunate to be able to travel on my own and see the culture,
Mm-hmm.
which is a beautiful culture, by the way, and it's so much different when you go there physically, as opposed to it was like city related in the States. Really, I felt made a discreditness of the culture.
Right.
And had senses of disbelief for me in different things. I was not a person who heavily dated Latino men or anything like that at all. That was not really my nature. I really don't date that way either. It's not. That's just maybe my, or floats your boat, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I went through that religiously. Then I thought, oh, let me see. Do I want to practice the other religion in my life? And there's beauty on both of these religions, by the way, when I'm talking about Judaism and then Catholicism. I mean, there's a beauty on both parts that I have an understanding of both.
Right.
Um, and I also love the architecture and the beauty of the Catholic Church. It's amazing,
It is.
I mean, you can't beat that. In the stories and the stuff
ceremonies
and all that. It's amazing.
The costuming.
Yeah, no, but there's truth to that. There's artistry.
They make it important. They make God a reason for all the pomp and circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it.
But it made me kind of find an equal medium. Sometimes like Moses part the water. Sounds okay. Literally, for me, and
Are you half chosen?
No, I am the chosen one. There's no doubt I'm chosen. There's no doubt on that one. Sorry. That one was kind of given from the get go. But on a serious note, but there is that. You have to also define who you are, and I went through that. I'm beeping. Maybe someone's singing this. Oh God! I was kidding. I was kidding. But and I don't know. I'm glad that I was able to have my own journeys to learn. I'm still learning. I always tell people, they have that 10-year plan, but then it leads to that plan once you hit 30, and some things happen in life that you have no control over, and that changes.
And you got to understand that, like, flexibility and fitting within the situation.
I mean, I have a 5-year plan within my life right now,
yeah.
And I'm pretty much succeeding within that 5-year plan, but this is a more appropriate time in life and age, and where it's a little bit, I don't want to say it's not easier, but there's things that don't bother me or affect me, you never thought, like, when you were in grade school, would we ever be, well, for me at least, dancing to Prince like it's 1999, and then actually witnessing, look, 1999. You know, I was going to be here still. You know what I mean? We thought we were going to be gone. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
I was rocking out in junior high to Prince. All right, not knowing we're when it was 1999, dancing on a bar in New York, by the way. So, just thought I mentioned that.
I was dancing in the back of my parents' Silverado.
Right
Listening to the songs on the radio. Like 6 of
Yes,
us.
yes.
I was in Tennessee.
But
It's a different vibe.
it was, I never knew, like, how did we know we were going to get there, That was like a big thing, Sheesh. I didn't think we were going to get here in 2000. Weren't we going to all be gone or blown up? Or
that or 2012.
Oh, yeah, well, I've surpassed that one, too.
Yeah.
2024, baby. God, whoever thought. Isn't that crazy? Did you ever think that?
What?
2024?
I guess I didn't. No.
I didn't even really think about it. I didn't, yeah.
What do you think about 2034?
No, I have to think very how old I am. I'll definitely be having fun retiring somewhere. That's all I'm going to say. I've already surpassed the 5-year plan.
That gave me anxiety. I was like, I don't have any good answers. As far as
I'm okay.
That's far out. Further out than
I'm okay. I'll be rocking it either way. I'll still be in pair of stilettos. Rock that on my head.
Always remember you greet the future with the same knowledge and understanding of what you've already accomplished in the past.
May not be as good on my feet, but hey, I'll still be rocking a pair of stilettos.
And still be like, I got them legs still.
Yeah, that's natural. That's gonna stay. I'll still be drinking champagne. That's only a 10-year rate. Wait, hey, I'm still rocking. Hey, I know some funky people in that age group. Well, let's see. 10 years from now, I'll be good. I'll just be close to retirement.
Mm-hmm.
But then I feel like there's days I'm already in retirement, just waiting on the money. It's coming.
I'm loving this conversation. Do you want to go deeper? Should we say that?
I don't know. God, I feel like I'm telling too much.
Oh,
I don't know. I feel like I need to eat something sweet. My sugar's going down.
all right. We'll get into the heavy stuff.
I know, we're getting heavy.
I get other stuff.
Oh, what was that? That was like a flash in the background. That's kind of cool. Just notice that in the camera.
No, I've been more looking at you, I guess. I'm like,
I just saw like the glimpse of it. I was looking in the screen for a second. I go, wait, what was that flash?
well, let me ask you if you want to answer this time or maybe future conversation.
All right.
I was gonna
throw it to me.
With everything that you've said about people being understanding and getting along, we're seeing almost I don't know, I couldn't quantify it, but a lot of people do not get along, and it's often from lack of understanding, knowledge, from that creates that divide. And you're, like we were saying in the beginning of this conversation, who I go to for wisdom and expertise on dealing with people you may not always be compatible with. And I think you handle that in a very graceful way.
Thank you. And I feel that I've been blessed with that opportunity. I am a giver, a connector. I bring people together. Sometimes there's times I can maybe get away with a little bit more than someone else by something I say, of a remark, as opposed to someone else saying, which kind of brings out the wild card in me, because I still remain to be myself. I always say that people always, I know I'm well loved, but then there's moments like you can't, you love me too much to hate me, or if you hate me, you're gonna hate because you hate it because you love me. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to
I
be
know
like,
the
you know,
feeling.
to be snobby about that or weird, but there's a truth to it if you get to know me as a real person. And I've been fortunate. I'm not, know half some of the things I learn every day from a conversation. I know easier said than done. We should listen more often. You know, sometimes guilty. I love to talk, and I may not, but I'm very in tune to things. Like when you think I'm not paying attention, and that could be kind of often sometimes in situations, but you'd be very surprised what I remember and how I get you back, you know, in a good way. When I mean by that, like it's like I got that good punch in me, you know, like if it's like as if I presented it in a gift, or if I presented it in some saying that came out of my mouth, or you know, or writing or whatever. Um, you might be at least surprised that I was actually paying attention. I don't know if that makes any sense. You might notice that in bits of friendship or anything of the sort, or business.
Of
But
course, I've noticed.
and a lot of
Did
times,
you
you know,
care for people genuinely?
I do, and then you know, and so I think a lot of times I think I surprise people in that because like, but it's true. There's a beauty of being a good listener, and I'm learning that every day too. You know, and I had lost hearing as a child, so I can always use that as my excuse. But when I'm not listening, you know, it's a learning process. We're learning every day. You know,
Yes.
ABC 1, 2, 3. You know all that stuff. You know it's the little steps, to getting to climbing and walking and, to crawl. I mean, some of these kids, they are skipping crawling. They're going straight to walking or running down the road. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I mean, that could be lead into another form of conversation of things, but I don't know if I want to go there, all that. But I just think I don't know. I'm just me.
You just naturally can navigate through
That's just who I
landmines,
am.
I guess. Yeah.
And believe me, I have a lot of friends that do not necessarily agree with me. Probably would never get along with each other. I mean, in fact, I'm a chameleon first and foremost, which I think is wonderful. And I have such a mixture and majority of friends in various classes and stuff and people, and they all love and intermerge in meeting the people that I've introduced or brought them in. Some of them would never probably hang out with each other in true reality. Um, but if it comes something to do or revolved around me, they do come together. That's why I always say I'm a birthday girl, so I love to celebrate my birthday. So I always know I'm guaranteed that there's a mixture of God knows what.
Would you like to share your birthday for those astrological people?
Oh, sure. May 30th. I'm a Gemini, baby,
Okay.
all the way. I am a Gemini. There ain't no doubt about it. You haven't figured that out. But and I'm a holiday baby, and I was born on a Thursday. So and I played baby Jesus, and because my sister went to Catholic school, my older sister, and I cried on cue. So I got them all. I got them all the way down. I mark all the spots. Check. Then it's when you asked if I was chosen. I'm a chosen one. I have to put humor in it. Sorry, that's just how I flow.
I didn't mean to tangent you. Go ahead. You were talking about your flexibility with the people and how you can flow with the situation. To be a chameleon.
No, I just can. I joke around about it. Like I could go out. You're at the mansion and end up at the shack at the end of the night. Because you're going here or there, or you're going to a few, people that you know. But I love the interaction and bringing people together and learning different things from different situations and atmospheres and bringing it amongst each other. I think it's really important. And I think it's important for kids to learn some of these things and maybe speak to them sometimes as adults. I mean, there's times when maybe that isn't, certain things aren't appropriate, that's a choice that you make of your own for whatever, I was fortunate to have adults around a lot as a child. So I had to grow up, but I had a very protective mother, which allowed me to be a child. So there was a great sense in me obtaining and containing a lot of innocence in me still. And probably more surprisingly to people than they would know
Mm-hmm.
of how strong of an innocence, I was able to obtain, just because I've been surrounded by some interesting, exposure in life. And I'm so fond of the fact that I've had that,
Mm-hmm.
or, as everyone can live vicariously through each other in different ways or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I just, I try to keep it semi simple. It doesn't have to be so extreme. We all have our
Mm-hmm.
grand personalities to what works for who. I know what I have, and I'm capable of what I have, and I know how to work it, control it, or whatever I have to do with it. But everyone may not have that. But I think you truly need to be true to yourself
Mm-hmm.
and not afraid. I think if we all make gestures and make a smile, or why I laugh so much and stuff, I think that gives a better message, if anything.
Yeah.
Like I said, I could still disagree with you, but I'm gonna smile. In fact, my dad actually said something to me, and it sticks with me. And when I say it, then I got a few friends freaked out afterwards. I go, just because I smile at you doesn't mean I like you. And I don't like everybody, but then that's okay. But you would never know it half the time. But I'm also not afraid to share what I don't like. But I'm fortunate enough that most people I'm around can respect that. Like
Mhm.
again, where we agree or disagree. I mean, I had a conversation with someone beforehand that would probably disagree with a lot of things I agree with, but we found some equal medium within ourselves
Mm-hmm.
where it was okay. I'm not gonna,
That's impressive.
no, it is because it's not like I'm going to go around and purposely throw all the things that you hate to say it, because I know it bothers you. I mean, that's kind of stupid. That's foolish. I mean,
Yeah.
especially when you have the control over that to know that makes you, I don't see how you're being a good person. You're just doing it to be spiteful. I mean, there's
Right.
times to be cute and silly, but then then there isn't,
Mm-hmm.
So, that's why it's always good with a gesture, preferably or a smile. Don't have to use any interesting fingers in between.
Yes. I think what I'm hearing is you're authentically just a diplomatic person. That's almost a gift. Like that's a lot of people have to learn that skill.
There's like I said, it's a learning process. I mean, I kind of got brought up into it, so I kind of had to learn how to separate certain things to know the difference, and I could use examples and go on forever about that, but I don't really have to do that, but it's just be true to yourself.
Yeah. I think that's a great place to end because, sorry, and the core philosophy is know thyself and being true to thyself and just figuring out who you are is the.
Before you know, she's going to talk about Plato and Socrates.
Yeah. It's my channel. I do it how I want. Actually.
Start pulling out the quotes. Don't let me go with that Abraham Lincoln one. That's a joke. Sorry. That's a stupid joke. I remember earlier saying that you wouldn't even know what I'm talking about. Well, God help us. I think I need some sweets. The sugar.
We'll get
the
you
sugar's
some
going down.
All right. I will wrap this up with. How'd you know? How'd you know I was going to end this philosophy? You know me too well.
I know.
Okay, I do want to say,
sweetness.
Since this is titled authenticity, I think one of the things that I've learned is just a reminder for myself that, and wisdom I've learned, authenticity always speaks and sells itself. It's like just being authentically yourself. People are going to dig it or they're not. And everyone else is, people will like you or not.
What's the name of your YouTube channel again?
It's Heart of the Hollow TN.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
Yes.
like maybe that was a different one.
Yes.
I was gonna say something funny, but sorry.
We'll get you some sugar.
Heart of the Hollow.
Heart of the Hollow. Are you gonna let me quote Sun Tzu?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
I'm waiting.
I know. I was letting you go on your sugar rant. No. Okay. Sun Tzu, who wrote The Art of War, there is a lot of wisdom in that, even if it's has to do with tactical warfare or not. And one of the things that he said that is a theme throughout the entire book is all warfare is based on deception.
Mm-hmm.
So if we kind of break that down, deception begets warfare. Lies create conflict. And to get back to love and to get back to a peaceful, more existence, then we have to therefore focus on truth. So
All about the truth.
Lies beget, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Amen.
So be authentic. We'll all get along. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.